Hello, I'm here with Cad Taylor, who many of you may know, BBC Radio Suffolk, loads of other projects, done lots around the Ipswich, Suffolk in general for several years now. How are you?
Oh, I'm fine, thanks. I've tried to create a sort of jungle feel, a few bits of plants.
It's looking good, looking good. Do you just want to tell any viewers who don't know what you've done, what you basically do, radio and otherwise?
Sure. So I guess it's interesting you went straight in with Radio Suffolk. I guess in a way, that maybe not how I identify completely. I've got a number of different hats. So I've worked for the majority of the last 15 years in community projects, in mental health, in creative regeneration projects that are community based, and I guess in a kind of equality projects in a broad sense, with particularly proud of South Street Kids, which is a project we started in, well, round the corner from where you are, pretty much on the same road as you are. But I now work full time at Radio Suffolk, which is a brand new role they've never had there till last February, called Communities Manager. So I got to invent the job, which can't be bad. So I'm just, bottom line is I get to go out and speak to people, and I'm particularly interested in voices that we don't normally hear across the media. And I guess that stands for everything I do. So
Yeah, so
pretty general.
Radio-wise, the main show you do, Belongings, that's sort of on hold. That maybe you're still doing part of that. I tuned in last night, and you guys were on for sort of half an hour having a chat, keeping updated. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're still out and about doing things, and probably working as much, if not more, than before.
Absolutely spot on. So that show ran from September until beginning of March, and when lockdown happened, unfortunately, it was one of the first things to go. It's a national thing, so I have to hold my, upset about the show going, because nationally the BBC decided to make a more simplified programming in case we didn't know what was going to happen, did we? So we didn't know if loads of people were going to get ill, and they'd have to do different sets of kind of covering shows. So the show got cut. But I'm making little packages, I guess that's what you'd call it. So I'm making pieces that go out mostly on a Monday night, but I'm trying to squeeze across the programming of the week as much as possible. So they have a flavour of the Belonging show in a way.
Well, what are things like at the studio now that all this has happened? I mean, has the atmosphere changed? Are the staff sort of pulling together more?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I've from day one, I worked from home. We were encouraged to, and in fact, I was one of the first people to be asked to work from home because I'm out and about so often. I'd be coming in and out of the studio. I don't work. I'm not glued to my desk as such. So, it was encouraged to work from home. So I got a little setup here at home, but I do go in because they've stripped everyone out. So it's something like 15,000 BBC staff members are working from home. So obviously a huge amount are able to do that. So from a local perspective, the studio, the office, it's virtually empty. You see one or two people when you go in. That's kind of it. So actually quite like that now. I like working from home. The only bit I miss is people. My entire remit for being is to be connecting up and speaking to people and being out and about. And that's what I want to do. So I've had to be very creative in the way that I speak to people, I suppose, at the moment.
So a lot of people work from home at the moment. Do you get as much work done at home as you would normally, or you're used to working from home anyway?
Yeah, good question. I'm not used to working from home. I work anywhere and everywhere, and people that know me over the years know that you might see me upstairs at Cafe Nero, you might see me in the little Romanian cafe. I actually quite like just to be on the laptop out and about. So I do miss that most of all. Working from home, I have so much to do, and a fraction of that feels like it's work. So I do a full working day, but I'm also like, oh my God, I've started getting into gardening. Like I planted about 100 seeds and things, and I've dug out a vegetable patch. So I'm kind of thinking in my lunch break, I just walk outside and I water the plants, or I'm doing loads of stuff. I'm very, very overly energized. So luckily, I appreciate this because luckily I don't get bored easily. And I've had some things that have been sitting in the background for a long time that I've been meaning to do. So work-wise, it's definitely a challenge to feel connected. I'd say that. So you're not with a team, but I go to a meeting, an online meeting at the BBC every day. And I also have sat in since lockdown, almost every single day I've sat in with the Ipswich Community Media work meeting. And for people that don't know, that was where I was before the radio. And I started that organisation with a team of people 5 years ago. So I've actually quite enjoyed sitting in those meetings, being part of that team every single day, and just keeping a track and working out what's going on with the organisation that I'm still a director of. Yeah.
I mean, I can see just through stuff on Facebook and things like that, and Twitter you're quite active on as well, through the radio account, and you've got another one, I think. That you've been doing stuff like, just before this interview, something popped up on the Ipswich Anti-Loo Roll Brigade. You were straight on something there.
Yeah.
So is that something you work a lot with?
Very much so. Actually, it's interesting. I was thinking about this yesterday, actually. So it's funny you say it. I was thinking, I had a Twitter. So I should just explain. It's interesting to work for the BBC. People who see this might think about it. You're not allowed to have you have to be unbiased. But for me, I've worked in my whole life in charity, third sector, creative places where, to be quite honest, you're actively encouraged to have a point of view. And a sort of, not a point of view, but we all have a point of view, but a leaning, I suppose, to a certain feeling. And I went to art college where you're also encouraged to be activist in your sense. So I've had to work very hard to consider that in social media the last year. So I had a Twitter, and I made another one that's much more work specific. And I really try hard to put on stories that I don't think perhaps I heard enough. I'm interested in covering the Roma stories, stories of the BME, disproportionate BME deaths during this time. But there's stories that are absolutely unacceptable, and I try and put them in that place. And then Facebook, for me, I've slightly changed my name. So I just feel like, get off my back. I want to do whatever I want to do. So I use that, that's probably the most me in Facebook. I can be really silly, or I can be really heartfelt, or I can play a lot of different sorts of music. The post that you're referring to just now, I posted, is about, I've been checking up on some people every week during this time that we know quite well, and who are having a hard time, very lonely, very isolated. So I was just using that as a platform to reach so many people. That's the thing, isn't it? I mean, that's, you know that from social media, just, you can put something out there and bash, you can get something back.
Yeah. And, earlier you mentioned the Safe Street Kids project. What's going on there at the moment then? Because obviously they can't have the weekly meet-up. Yeah,
well, we've got around it. So yeah, we normally meet. It's a free project. We meet every Saturday morning in our studios opposite your place, and we just spent a bit of time, myself and Angel Joseph, who also does the project with me and works a lot with me. We kind of refound the families, because it's a very organic project. It literally started up because we saw some kids on South Street. So we just worked to try and refine those kids. I literally biked around the Jubilee Park area where a lot of our kids live, Westgate Ward, and knocked on doors and said, we're going to put letters through the post saying, this is a Zoom, this is what you do, get your parents to consent, we want to keep seeing you. And we started 2 weeks ago, and every Saturday morning, so it's really good.
That's good. Yeah. And the kids,
and we got some of the...
So I was to say, so they learn about the technology as well then, so that a lot of them wouldn't have used it for, so they're getting something new out as well.
Not. Well, lots of us hadn't. I mean, I never had used Zoom before. We used Skype and FaceTime, I guess, but Zoom's provided this sort of funny platform where we can have a session. So we've done it's been, the first session actually, Andy, was just all of the kids playing around with the background, putting in like Hawaiian scene or, that kind of stuff. So just getting into it really, but
they're already more advanced than me then, so that's good. But you also done some pub quizzes on here as well, didn't you, when it first started?
Yeah, well, we're entering week 9, which is pretty much today for me, week 9 of lockdown. And I don't know about anyone else, please let me know. But week 1, boom, I was like, what are we going to do? How are we going to stay connected? Did a quiz first week, reaching out, thinking this. Second week, better do another quiz. Did a quiz and actually haven't done one since. So we did a music quiz, and we had 40 people, 35 people turn up to pretty much both of them. And my housemate Caitlin, who works at the Smokehouse, and me, it was really fun, and haven't done it since. So
you'll have to do another one.
I think it's a dynamic of lockdown. I like
Yeah.
every week has had a different dynamic for me. Maybe this is the more melancholy, thoughtful week. Then next week's a more active week, and the week after was like, I'm going to do some sport.
Yeah.
Every week's felt different.
But it's easy trying to find different things as well, because you don't want to just repeat the same week every week in life anyway, let alone when there's less to do. Yeah, I found the same. I mean, I had a week of just watching TV basically. And then it's, getting out doing other stuff. I'm walking every day now, probably longer than I should, but still doing that. And it's just speaking to different people as well. I mean, you started a podcast as well really early on.
I did 4 episodes of. I have recorded one actually, which I haven't recorded it 2 weeks ago. So the first one, again, I believe it happened in week 1, which was my most active week. I did one. I've got a lot of pictures on the wall from different people, and I just did a tour of what those pictures were, and I quite enjoyed that, and people seem to quite like it. And then I did a more pondering one, I think, a thoughtful one. Then the next one after that was, I don't even remember, but the one I just recorded was 2 weeks ago. I biked out to Westerfield and sat in the churchyard and recorded quite a nice one with bird sound in it, and just talking about some of the situations. And I actually haven't done anything with it, and it already feels completely out of date. So you've reminded me that I need to do it. Do you think that there's too many people doing things like that? That's what I worry about. I think that maybe
the one thing I am finding is the live sort of acoustic streams. There seems there's so many of those. But podcasts, well, there is and there isn't. But a lot of them are very samey. There's anything different, like just go into the churchyard. I haven't seen anything else like that. I've had seen people sort of give their little diary or that sort of thing.
Yeah,
but I think there's so much room in anything like that. Anything.
Yeah, I was thinking about this yesterday because I've got into the world of Instagram, and there's someone I think she's hilarious, and I'd never heard of her before lockdown, and I just started, and she posts stuff every day, and I think she's actually hilarious. She's done some funny lockdown videos actually, but she's also you feel like you know her, which is, and you think, oh, have I watched it today? Yes, I get to watch her talking, and I feel that with a guy called Blind Boy. I'm a big fan of the Blind Boy podcasts. This particular Victoria Eames and Louis Theroux's just started a series, and I just have particular ones that I like, and then I'm looking forward to when the next one is. Yeah. Like also Grace and Perry. I like the Grace and Perry Art Club. Big fan. So
that's why podcasts have got bigger. Like we said with Zoom, a lot of people hadn't used it. A lot of people hadn't even listened to podcasts before this. So I've been speaking to people, and they're asking me to recommend them, and I'm like, I've done a podcast for about 3 years now, but there's very few I actually listen to, and I'm thinking I should, and I've been missing out. So
oh my gosh, well, I can recommend, if you haven't listened to Adam Buxton's ones over the years.
Yeah, that's one of the ones I have. So still watch Adam and Joe repeats on YouTube and stuff, because stuck in the 90s. But anything else you've seen, any other projects or anything that you've seen out about, or the way people are? Is anything sort of inspiring come out of this, do you think?
Okay, so there's lots of inspiring stuff for sure. And I think we can, as a county, as a town, as a world, as people, we can feel proud of some of the immediate things people did. And that there's no doubt about that. I mean, even in my road, I live just off Norwich Road, and, a WhatsApp group started, and all of the good stuff. Oh my God. Is this appropriate? You can cut this. I'm just going to really quickly plug my computer, and it's going to take 1 second. That's quite funny, right?
I don't think I'll just keep talking. I don't think I could try to edit it.
You can just keep talking.
Yeah, I could pretend to know what books you've got in the background and tell people what they are.
Well, this is my this is one of my favourite books. This is Inside the Dream Palace. It's about the Chelsea Hotel in New York, but it's also about the architectural history of it, and it goes spiritually goes back to France. It's a good one. Sebald, got some good stuff here. Woody Allen, Ireland, a load of nice stuff there. So I was going to say, there's been lots of good stories that we can feel proud of, and really nice neighbourly things, but in a way, good things and things that should happen. I believe those things should happen anyway. But what I've, I guess, observed from the media is we haven't heard from every community, and we haven't heard because some communities see things differently. Even the wording of volunteering as people perceive it it can be very different in different communities. And some communities are suffering more than others, and some are doing amazing stuff we're never going to hear about. So yeah, I started this community meeting every 2 weeks with the Racial Equality Council and Fanwell Muttonbury next door to Radio Suffolk. And we do these, anyone can come, these community meetings on Zoom. And they've been amazing. We've heard from the Zimbabwean community, particularly the Roma community, where people have gone through extraordinary hardship actually in this town that you might not know about, but also people have come together to support people. And as a community, particularly Roma, is very family orientated, and it's doing everything it needs to do to support each other. And you don't often hear that, I think. And yeah, people are still doing their English learning. People are reaching out, and I generally think it shows the good side of humanity, I think. As well as maybe the leadership doesn't always show that, but I think on the ground we've still got to hold on to most people are good, aren't they?
Yeah, that's the thing as well. When you see one bad incident or one bad person, that it always gets dwelled on more than the good people or the good. Just looking at the news, it mainly reports bad news, doesn't it? And I think that's part of human nature, which I think we need to change. It's one of the reasons I started doing this, to get the positive out of this situation.
Definitely. But I think nothing stands in isolation. I maintain that no man is an island. And I think, it was already a weird time for the country. Let's not forget, we were going through years of Brexit and division and challenges. And people, lots of people were really suffering in that time. Racist abuse and prejudice was building up and ramping up. And I guess my concern is that we come out of this lockdown, we come out of this time, and we think more about each other and what kind of world do we want to live in? Do we want to be nice to each other? Do we want to think about, oh my gosh, that guy has got nothing, or that woman over there is working really hard with their kids, what can we do? And we don't have to lower to the lowest common denominator. We can say we are really much better than that. I'm also interested in the environment, and I'm massively concerned that we don't use this window, this little window that we've got, to change everything. Let's use this. If you could see it like a gift and say, let's not just buy loads and loads of shit that we're going to buy, or let's not drive everywhere. So I just want to see how we decide collectively to change that, and also that people understand that you can take control. You don't have to watch things happen. You can be like, no, I'm not happy with that. I think that's something I like to encourage in people, is to be more activism.
You mentioned the environmental impact. I mean, within weeks or probably days, this benefit of the planet, and it is just cutting down. And I've done a lot of stuff more recently, to climate change and that sort of thing. And people know, it's just a lot of people ignore it, I think, and it's doing something about it. Like you say, being active about it. Don't let someone else do it.
Definitely.
That's the same with a lot of things.
Definitely. I think it's the uncomfortable truth. And unfortunately, again, you could attribute it to Brexit and that time where we are trying to reduce everything to quick slogans and simple answers. And these are very difficult questions. And society is facing challenges right now. Who's going back to work? Well, actually, the people that are threatened with losing their job, the 0-hour contracts, the tough, low-wage jobs where people are worried about losing them, or they have to work. And if you're furloughed at 60% and you're on minimum wage, that is not very much money to be living on. So you take a risk, and that's not the middle class and upper class taking a risk, because they're staying at home. So I think, to be really aware of those society challenges for me, and what can we do about it?
Exactly. We're going to wrap it up. I want this to be 15 minutes. We've probably nearly doubled that, but who cares? No, it's good. It's good. But just nothing. Two disappointing things come out of this. There's going to be the first Norwich Road Festival, and the May Day, which you've been working with 11 years now. Is it the May Day Festival? So bigger and better next year.
Yeah, bigger and better. It was going to be a big one this year. We obviously had the Stand Up to Racism event back in March with about 500 people coming in a couple of days. So we were going to roll all that up into the world of Brexit. However, everything's changed. So next, everything's gone. I'm involved in Global Rhythms Festival, May Day, the Black Panther exhibition I was involved in. It's postponed till next year, and we can confirm that's going to happen. Yeah, it's really sad. I really love festivals. I've been to every single latitude since the beginning, and we've always done something there, or all kinds of things. So I'll miss a summer of doing fun festivals and super normal and all those things.
Yeah, I just think hopefully people will be more excited about these things next year. You know, missing something.
Can you imagine the party?
It's going to be 2021 should be amazing. So
I should just say that I have a little van. I've always had a van, and I'm building this shelf at the back at the moment. This sort of gatefold shelf that's going to take decks and have my PA underneath it. So I'm going to start doing some kind of mobile sound system. So you better watch out for it.
Okay, we know the van is the Cadmobile. We all know it from the pub here, so we see you about. Thank you very much, and cheers for the time, because I know you're really busy.
No, I really enjoyed that, Andy. I really enjoyed it. Let's do it again.
Okay, I might hold you to that, because hopefully I'm going to develop this into a longer, sort of hour-long podcast at some point.
I think hour-long chat is good, so let's do some more later.
Let's do it. Thanks a lot. Cheers.